Birds of a feather. You know, when you're a kid, your parents used to always say, birds of a feather flock together, and by your friends you are known. And as a kid, even as a teenager, you think parents are just being parents, not realizing the truth behind all those things. And as a person who grew up in a Christian household, my parents used to always say, by your friends you are known. And we are supposed to be instruments. We are the salt of the earth. And I used to take that term and use it for myself, saying, I can still have my faith, I can still follow Christ, and at the same time be around a lot of negative activity and a lot of negative people. Now, when the Bible says you're supposed to be the salt of the earth, that means you're supposed to be, a representation of Christ here. He's not saying that you're supposed to enjoy the company and the behaviors and condone those things with people that are doing the negative. No, you are supposed to help people come to realization of what they're doing is not right. And I construed that, thinking that I could have a double standard and live a double life where I'm doing all the right things but hanging out with all the wrong people all day, every day. And yes, there was temptation, and not saying I'm perfect, but on a whole, I wasn't involved in the things that were going on. I had friends who owned a very large home. We used to call it the palace. And in this palace, there were, drugs being sold, low-level prostitution happening, gambling, drinking, smoking, running all sorts of illegal activity was happening. And, I wasn't involved in that, but, these are your friends. These are the people you grew up with. So I would frequent there, I'd hang out, play video games, play pool, not realizing, what your parents taught you. Birds of a feather flock together, and by your friends you are known. And it really didn't hit home the importance of those statements. Was, one day, went over to the palace, was just hanging out. And, I'm used to people coming and going, customers, strangers, random, coming and going to do business. And on this particular day, I was getting ready to leave. And someone was coming in and they said, nah, go back inside. And I was like, what's up? What's wrong? Let's get back inside. So he was followed by 4 people, all with sawed-off shotguns. And I could look at the corner of my eye and I see there was 3 people outside watching, and then the rest of them came inside. And I knew they'd been there before because they knew exactly where to go. And they were barefaced, so they weren't masked up. They really didn't care. And they knew that at the time there was about 5 of us in the home. So they had done some surveillance on when people came in and out, and so quite scary situation. And at the time it wasn't funny, but now I can think about it as funny as I remember when these thugs had guns to my face, I peed my pants. And I was like saying, you really do pee your pants when you get super scared. But that's just a little side joke. Anywho, so they all duct taped us up. They put tape over our mouth and stripped us down to our underwear. So we're all down to our underwear, stripped up. And then they started asking for the drugs. They started asking, where's all the stuff that was stolen by friends. And I didn't know. I really didn't know. But in their eyes, I was a part of them. And when you think of birds of a feather, I was part of them. And birds of a feather means that gangster lifestyle attracts others that are into that gangster lifestyle. So, which is competitors, ops, or whatever we want to call it. And so it didn't matter my beliefs. In that moment, I was a part of them. I was a part of their crew, and I was a part of the activities that were done. So, and I'm here, praying and scared, duct taped, well damn naked, scared for my life, with guns to my head. I wasn't answering the questions properly because I really didn't know. I got a gun butt to the head. Some blood started to come down. And it was the worst situation that I've ever been in. And I will never forget that statement that came, and the fear and the shame of, if I'm going to die, this is what my parents are going to think that my secret life was about. And, that's when it hit, talking about birds of a feather flock together, and by your friends you are known. And, by the grace of God, they took what they came for and they left. And, that was the last day that I ever stepped foot in the palace. And that was also the last day that I, spent so much time with those individuals. Now, some of them over time, they changed their ways, and, some didn't. And it was a lesson for me that, what you do, what you say, who you hang around with, that becomes your network. One of my mentors said, your net work is equal to your net worth. And it is so true. And I urge you to test it for yourself. If you look at the let's say 6 people that you spend the most of your time with, the most amount of your time, chances are on average, you more or less make around the same amount of money. You more or less have the same or less mindset on life, on goals, on politics, religion. It's more or less the same. And if it's different and you're still there, you got to think about it. You know what? You should always aim to be the weakest link in the room, which will allow you to grow, as opposed to being what you want to be, the top dog, the shot caller, because there's nowhere for you to go up. People will pull you down. But when you have mentors, coaches, people motivating you, people helping you to grow and stretch your understanding of things, that's where the magic happens. And that's what I want for everyone, is to think about what you want out of life, what you want to accomplish, what you want to learn, who do you want to be around, and invest in being around those people. If you can't, you can look to online tools like YouTube and different online training programs. There's a lot of free programs. You don't always have to pay. There's a lot of free tools and resources that you can use if you're trying to better yourself, better your situation, better the people you're around, network with different folks with different mindsets, more positive mindsets, more outcomes-based mindsets. There's no excuse. In this digital world, there is no excuse. You got to invest in yourself. You can do this. You will do this. I believe in you. And if you need any sort of help, there are tons of people around you that will help you. You just got to put in a little bit of work to get a better and a large amount of return on investment on that investment in yourself, in your family, in your friends, and in your future.